Are you living the divine life? Many of us are not, and there just might be a few things keeping us from this. Welcome to Living a Sacred Life with Dr. Raymond Anderson. In our program, you'll learn to use the tools that have been given to you to make changes that you need, and by doing so, come one step closer to living that divine life. Now, here is your host, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson.
Infinite peace, infinite blessings, and infinite love are yours. As I greet you on this fine Monday, my dear brothers and sisters, namaste. So, as you might remember in our first week together, I mentioned that my sister and I went to New York City to attend the I Can Do It conference through Hay House, and we went with two good friends of ours. Well, the weekend after that, Trey, Cody, my second son, and I were in Brooklyn attending the Deaf Expo. And yet, once again, this past weekend found Trey and I in Stony Point, New York, where the two of us attended a World Alliance of Interfaith Clergy, or a WAKE. It was their conference, and it was there that I received two new ordinations. One ordination was from the American Interfaith Holistic Temple, which is through the American Institute of Holistic Theology. Alphabet soup. And the second ordination was from OUNI, or the Order of Universal Interfaith. Just so you know, and in case you're curious, Trey took tons of pictures. They're posted on Facebook, so feel free to go. And let's see, what else did I want to tell you before we get started? Oh, I was at the event at Stony Point. I was there with an amazing group of women. If any of them are listening, thanks, ladies. I love you all. Look forward to chat with you soon. But anyway, I'm excited again to be back home, and I'm excited to be filled with the knowledge and the empowerment that was gained from the weekend conference and the fellowship and the ordination services and the Sunday service that we performed, etc. And I'm excited to be here with you once again. So let's get centered and let's get to why we're here. Because once again, I have a lot to chat with you about. So if you're able to do so safely, note I said safely, close your eyes. And if not, then keep them open while entering into a prayerful consciousness with us. As these words, which were so inspirationally put forth by Reverend Marquita McIntosh during the Sunday service at Stony Point, let the words enter your mind and your heart. Take a breath and feel the prayer. Dear God, please untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, the can-nots, the do-nots that I have in my mind. Erase the will-nots, may-nots, might-nots that may find a home in my heart. Release me from the could-nots, would-nots, and should-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, dear God, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back, especially the thought that I am not good enough. Amen. And on that note, I'd like to add, you are good enough. Every single one of us is already innately good enough. That prayer is a very good segue or entrance into today's topic of be, do, and have. And as we take a moment to introduce the topic or the concept, be mindful of the times that we're chatting that a knot forms in your heart or mind. And as we find, it is often those knots that bind us to the shore and prevent us from setting sail, or the knots that anchor us to the earth and prevent us from taking flight. You know, I found that many people have a difficult time even imagining the concept of be, do, and have. Meaning, you can be, do, and have whatever you desire. Now, there are those who refuse to even allow their imagination to engage with or play with this idea. Many people find it easier to imagine getting mugged, losing their job, or getting ill. Why is it easier to imagine the darkness rather than the light? Well, just as a quick note, I'm sure that that's something that one of our guests for October can address, because Dr. Sherry Rosenthal, author of Banishing Mind Spam and The Idiot's Guide to Toltec Wisdom, she will be joining us in a few weeks, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so what does it mean that you can be, do, or have what you desire? Or as some would say, you can be, do, and have everything that you want. As I say that, what thoughts spring to your mind? Or what feelings come into your body? Do you feel empowered? Or do you feel angry or fearful? Do you think, well, how silly? Or do you think how impossible that is? Or do you think, of course I can? You know, how we think about this is going to affect, as I've said weeks before, how we think about this is going to affect how we attract it into, or how we demonstrate this into our lives. First of all, let's set up or establish that you must be clear about what you are desiring, and be clear how you are setting this up, or how you are speaking of your intention or your desire to manifest. You have to be clear on that. For example, if you say, I want to be rich. Well, first of all, we'll get to because I know some of you are, well, he said want. Well, we're going to talk about wanting in a second. For right now, just pause on that. For right now, just hear, I want to be rich. Whenever I hear clients of mine, or if I'm in the supermarket and I overhear people say things like, I want to be rich, I wonder, do they mean rich as in financial wealth and prosperity? In other words, money. Because it's my position that you don't want to be rich. What you want is to have money. In other words, you want financial wealth so that you can be financially secure and then get what that would give you. I mean, does that make sense? Well, I hope so, because we're moving on after that, because I want to jump into what I meant by taking the want out of it for a second. Because, well, first of all, if that wasn't clear, please send me an email or message on Facebook, or feel free to call me, because I don't have a problem with clarifying. So, take a breath. So now let's talk about wanting, because a lot of times we use the word and many of us don't realize what exactly that's creating or manifesting for us. Because by having a consciousness of wanting, that consciousness is built on the belief of not having, because you only want what you feel or believe you don't have. So when attracting, manifesting, demonstrating, whatever word you choose, that which you are intending, it is very important to center in a feeling of already having. Visualize, imagine yourself as already having, being, doing whatever it is. The universe responds to the consciousness that you establish. This is why Jesus said to pray in a manner realizing or knowing that the Father, Mother God, already knows what you need before you ask. If God already knows what you need before you ask, then it's already there. The getting of it is already established in the asking of it when you already know that it's already yours. You know, I often use the example of how as a child, myself, I would ask my parents for something, and when I was told, okay, meaning I could have it, I no longer needed to ask them for it. But why not? I mean, why didn't I keep on asking? Because oftentimes we can go to the supermarket or go to Toys R Us and we can see little Timmy or somebody saying, but mommy, I want that. I want it. I want it. I want it. And we see kids doing this. Why is it that they do it, but at that time I didn't? I mean, I could ask for a bike and I would be told by my mother or father, yes, you can get it. And I didn't ask again. Why not? I trusted that what I was told was the truth. And that the words, okay, you can get it, were satisfying enough for me. Because I knew that in time, whether it was for a birthday, for Christmas, or for my next report card of straight A's, I knew the bike was mine. Therefore, there was no need to continue asking. I put it out there, I got a response, and I knew. So, what do you want to be? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be peaceful? Do you want to be a teacher or a lawyer or a minister? Do you want to be an actor, a parent, or a president? Well, it's important to know that all that you desire to be already is. Energetically, it exists already in the now. And not only that, but it exists within you right now. If it wasn't so, then you wouldn't feel the urging to want it, or the urging to be it, or the urging to do it. It wouldn't even exist. But because it exists, it's sort of an energetic way of knowing that it's there already. That's why someone once said that God never gives you a dream without also giving you the means to make that dream a physical reality. You know, it's funny that young children believe that they can be anything they want to be. And it's common to go to a school or whatever, and you hear a young girl or young boy saying that he or she he or she is going to be an astronaut, a lawyer, a doctor, an actress, the president of the country, and a mommy or daddy. Now, our response to that when we hear the child say that should be, well, of course. I mean, she can be whatever she wants to be. However, we as parents or teachers or administrators or ministers in that child's life, what we should be doing is nurturing and encouraging her dreams. Yet far too often, the adults in that child's life don't do that. Far too often, we spend the time teaching her or telling her to be realistic. You know, had Einstein not trusted in his dream and decided to be more realistic, then the theory of relativity may never have been written for years, if at all. So, in order to manifest, oftentimes you have to believe in what common sense and practicality can't see. You understand that? Because oftentimes we're fooled by what we see, and we trust that rather than what we don't or can't see. Oprah, personally, I look at Oprah as someone who has worn or wears many hats. Oprah has been a talk show host. She's been an actress, a producer, a CEO, a trendsetter, an inspiration to millions, and more. Yet, had Oprah as a child believed the pronouncements of her grandmother and other trusted adults, or as she grew up, other trusted colleagues, then over the years, I venture to say, Oprah would never have been able to demonstrate in the manner that she has. She decided not to be realistic, but opted to be fantastic. So it's important that each of us take the time to say, am I being more realistic, or am I willing to be fantastic? Am I willing to step out there and believe in the power of my dreams, or do I feel that I need to settle in with the status quo and follow in with all of the other sheeple who tell what's not possible and why something can't be done? Oftentimes we decide that we want to conform so badly that we give up, we sacrifice, we throw away our dreams. And it's time to stop. So as we get ready to go to our first break, I would like to thank you for tuning in. You are listening to Living a Sacred Life, and I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson. Stay tuned.